A moment. So, as our lead said, the title of my presentation, this cost of clinical trials for perspective of patient recruitment, patients recruitment crisis. Short overview. I can say that so I'm as a professional in this area. So I just would like to make some global overview of the cost for the clinical trials and from the recruitment perspective. And what I have got. So clinical trial as of today, the way to provide the society with effective and safe approaches applied to the patients. It does not matter what will be diagnostic, treatment, anything which could be applied to the patient is passing through the clinical trials or must be passed through the clinical trials. And start of clinical trials as it itself appeared on the beginning of the 20th year. And now over 37,000 clinical trials is conducted annually in the whole of the world as of last year, according to the clinical trials go. And the number of patients participating in clinical trials annually is dozens of millions, and even such figure does not go in with all of the patients in the world, because some authors is indicating that only 2% of the oncological patients is participating in the studies. Cost to reach the approval is so high that it could seem that the more cost done, the more success is expected, but not in clinical trials, as it equal to the bank credit when to cut the time that to reach a success, you just take the money. So, out of effort is heading that only 1% brings the approaches to the patients or reach the market, or by other words, having overcome all approvals and studies to be safe and effective in order to give favor to the patients. And the reasons of this results is different, and one of them is recruitment of the patients to the study. So what is the absolute figures as of now? So I just took the 100 patients which could be, for example, involved in one study, and just multiply this one on the study publicly reflected in the clinical trials growth. And so we have 3,700,000 patients per year. Is very, very roughly. And the cost of clinical trials is listed below. So without cost of preclinical, for phase 1 is around 4 million, for phase 2 is around $13 million, phase 3, 50 million, then submission to for the approval around 2 million, and phase 4, so 20 million US dollars. And in total, there is $59 million. It takes only one clinical trials just to imagine the figure which we have if we will multiply this figure and in the term clinical research was coined in 1931, and some authors cite the results because the sponsoring company $37,000, and at the same time the losers from the unsold product were 2 to 3 orders to magnitude higher, from 0.6 to 8.0 million dollars to $23 million, and the total duration of the study is constantly increasing, in particular due to the complexity of the protocol, and as a result, the amount of information required from the site. So, for example, this one example is about the ECRF, which since 2000 until 2011 increased very dramatically. The recruitment of patients occurs at the very beginning of the study, at any phase, during the recruiting period. The activity of research sites during this period affects the duration of this period, and ultimately the cost of the study and the duration of the entire study. And so you see here some other figures reflecting the cost depending on the methodology where the trials is conducting. This is also publicly observed information. So as a rule in oncology, most cost taken the study. And here is the breakdown on the years since 1393 until 2011-12. And this is exactly which I very love this picture, which are reflecting the cost exactly heading to the recruitment. And you see that for the phase one, it is about 15,700 US dollars. For phase two, 19. So the tendency is increasing from the phase one until phase four. And in total, also there is a barrier. So it is about 47,000 US dollars. And so you can see that only for the recruitment each year, so the sponsors, everybody, all of the stakeholders who is involved in the clinical research, clinical trials industry is spending only for the recruitment. I'm emphasizing that more than $173 billion. So, and even given this figure only, and the figures which I said above before this slide, so when only 1% of the studies reach the market, it means that mostly of that figure is going to the trash. And so even with such high budget, the percentage of the budget to recruitment is again up to only 3%. So cost budget is annually in that industry. And if everything in clinical trials doing not according to the schedule, it costs more and more to the sponsors, to the end of the completion of stakeholders, to the patients. I just calculated it's about 17 trillions of US dollars. And so what? And also from other point of view. So if we are all doing according to the schedule, we are in adherence. We are adhere to the protocol. Adhere to, by other words, it is quality. Quality conducting study conducted in quality. If we do not adhere to the schedule, so we already not trials in quality. So that's why, and one author is Moal Alsomide, who is I think one of the key opinion leaders in clinical trial industry. So just calculated the cost of the non-adherence, and so you see here that they from phase 1 to phase 4, the quality not adherence is increasing. So and you can see that for example, if trials do not adhere for 1%, it costs on the phase 4 studies $6 million. And if we anyway trying to conduct on quality level, the cost is of course decreasing. So that's why if recruitment doing according to time, according to protocol, according to schedule, so we are decreasing, increasing the quality and decreasing the cost. Anyway, despite of such approaches, such smart approaches, such spent monies anyway, just in this year there was already concludes that recruitment, now there is a crisis in clinical trials recruitment, and it's negatively affecting patients. Most studies do not achieve the trial recruitment targets within the planned timeline. Missed milestones push back the time to analyze and report on the data. Delayed data reporting creates delays in getting new therapies approved. The delays also increase the cost of the clinical trials, and this results is higher drug prices. So also, moreover, the patients now with the new studies is now coming from the same population where studies already conducted, with more than 70% of clinical studies missing their recruitment milestones on average, and more than 4 times the amount of trials attempting to recruit from the same size patient pool since 2017. Something had to change. That's also one of the people who is key opinion leader is in the clinical trial industry. So there is a necessity to develop tools to overcome this crisis. One of the tools to decrease the cost for recruitment is to go to other countries. Why I emphasize on this, because as I'm involved in that CIS countries recruitment, so that's why this decreasing the cost, but how and what exactly calculation, and what is the figures to decrease. And so I just observed 4 studies, so they're listed here. All of them are solid tumors, and only one is a rare disease, idiopathic purpura. And here on this table, I just calculated the sum spent to find out the patients. So you see there is very much higher, less sum, but anyway, we should understand that these studies were successful in recruitment, and anyway, the cost to find out the patient is much higher, much higher. You see that from the cost of screening per patient ranging from the 3.3% to 16%. The highest cost per patient are in oncology protocols, but the lowest cost of screening is also there. According to, as I mentioned about Alsumida, the cost per patient of phases patient range from $19,300 to $26,000. And duration of enrollment, even that this patient successful, anyway, the duration is increased up to 300%. This is for exactly for rare disease. So, and so can be seen that target time to recruit patients increased up to 4 times. The countries of Russia, Ukraine, Belarus accounted for up to 57% of recruited patients. So it is one of the tools, but of course now again the situation is not stable, and so everything is changing. And so next tool, which I also would like to emphasize, is another tool is smart approach. Like previous presenter who is developing the evaluation of the preeclampsia. So I'm also developing the evaluation of the sites for the potential of recruitment. So, and you can find here the if it is interesting for you, the site which could be where you could you could predict your enrollment. And last sentence, clinical trial is cutting edge of science to bring the so needed medicines to the suffering patients over the whole the world. Cutting edge, always the challenge. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, doctor, for your presentation. Any question?